Four boats will make the start in Heat 1B of the Gold Cup race. Smythe Smoother Mover is not starting. And let's set the field for you. Miss Madison with Jim McCormick driving. Atlas Van Lines 2 with Terry Starrett driving. They're all watching this clock, the starting clock, as it blacks out. The starting gun will be fired, and everybody wants to be right on the line when it happens. Towne Club is driven by Fred Alter, and Miss Timex driven by Ron Larson. Atlas Van Lines 2 right on the money. Here they go. Up here with us after winning the rerun of Heat 1A, Bill Muncie. Let's watch your teammate, Terry Starrett, hit the first turn.
And what a start he had, Keith. He comes smoking down that front chute at about 150 miles an hour, and he'll probably try and get into the corner at about 135, but he's going to have to take that heavier boat a little wide, and there's a good possibility that well, I don't want to call him devious. He's just darn good, but Jim McCormick, as you can see, could duck underneath him and take a good run on him and establish a right-of-way in that one lane so the traffic could get fast and thick coming down.
Now, let's watch the Miss Madison. Bill, I think you've commented, a number of people have commented that between 90 and 120, this one can really go. And here comes the Madison running on the right side of the screen.
And this is strong forte. As he moves into one lane, he's got the right-of-way, and he's got the field on the hip. And Freddie Alter, sitting back in the Towne Club, has his boat running beautifully, too. But as you mentioned earlier, Keith, here's some rough water, and there on the right we have the Towne Club bouncing through it and into that corner in very heavy traffic.
One of the characteristics of the driving of Jim McCormick as he tries to run as tight to the buoys as he can and run the tighter course. Miss Timex has now dropped well off the pace, and the battle goes on between Miss Madison, Atlas Van Lines 2, and the Towne Club hanging on.
And for those fans who maybe watched the sport for years, this is the big battle that everybody seems to like. They like the Allison engine powering the Madison. They like the Rolls-Royce and the Atlas. Here's the big contention, the big fight that we've been talking ever since the Second World War.
And Fred Alter trying to duck inside with the Towne Club has the door shut on him by Jim McCormick as they go through the turn. Now you see the sliding action. The three-point suspension hydroplane doesn't really draw much water on the straightaway when it's up and planing at full speed. But now watch as Atlas Van Lines with Terry Starrett. Apparently he went to the nitrous and come popping off, and suddenly he jumps back into the lead.
This is a tight battle between the Atlas and the Rolls-Royce, and Terry's got the Atlas Van Lines moving beautifully. Turning about 4,000 revolutions per minute with a propeller speed of 12,000 revolutions per minute. He's seeing about 150 miles an hour, and as you can see, goes in on that boat tight just to give McCormick just enough room in the Madison, but not a lot of room, just enough to negotiate, maybe to slow him down a little bit.
You indicated earlier that you get about 400 extra horsepower when you go to that, what you call laughing gas.
Yeah, and it gets a lot of laughing done. You laugh all the way to the bank if you can keep it glued together. Of course, it makes your engine run a little leaner, and as a result, your piston temperatures are hotter, and you can melt an engine down.
So we have had the lead change hands a couple of times. Right now, Terry Starrett. He is running in first place. Miss Madison has dropped back into second place. Towne Club with the veteran Fred Alter. He is running in third, and Miss Timex is fourth. And at these speeds, there isn't that much between first, second, and third. And while Atlas Van Lines 2 is leading rather comfortably at this moment, the Towne Club with Fred Alter has pulled up well alongside the Madison and may take a run at him.
Fred Alter and Jim McCormick are having a real go, and it looks like Fred's got that boat. He moved outside the wake, and he's running deeper in the corner, and so as a result of Miss Madison's going to be able to run a shorter course and get off that corner ahead of Freddie. Now watch Freddie make this boat move, and I'm surprised to see Fred moving this boat as quickly and moving in a fast track as he is, because he hasn't been running that much this year.
Now, he does not want to cross the wake any more than he has to. It does two or three things. One, it costs you about a second every time you go across it, and the other thing is that it beats up your equipment.
It does. You're laboring your equipment. You're making that blower work harder, and you're making, sometimes you're increasing the friction areas, and of course this slows you down a little more. It takes more power to go faster.
The Atlas Van Lines well out in front, inside, battling for second place is the Madison. Running tight with him is Fred Alter in the Towne Club. Let's see if Fred can hold it on the buoys this time. He's holding it much better here at this turn than he did in the last. It seems that the Madison lugs down a little bit as it gets into cavitation in the turn, and Fred Alter, with that black smoke coming out, means that he has given it a shot. Let's see what he can do on the straight.
He's going to that nitrous oxide, and here Fred's challenging him. He seems to be able to do this at will. Every time he gets into trouble in the straightaway or in the corner, he can move that boat back up through the pack and become and there he goes by. He's moving to second place now, Keith.
And that gets a wail from the beach as the crowd of better than 100,000 watched Miss Madison drop back into third place. But let's see now if Fred Alter can shut the door on Jim McCormick. Fred is still not that tight on the buoy. McCormick runs. He just likes to rub him, and you see Fred Alter going way wide.
But it seems to me that Fred did hit some rollers just prior to setting up for going into the corner and isn't able to maintain as tight a radius as Jim McCormick is in the Miss Madison.
But here he comes. He's still able to drag him pretty well on the long straight. Atlas Van Lines, too, running well out in front. The dogfight is for second place. It's worth 300 points here in 1B, so it's certainly worth fighting for.
And he's challenging him again, but they're heading towards that rough water down just beyond the bridge, and that's pretty exciting. As you can see, the Atlas moving into that corner in a very nice tight radius. He's moving in there about 135 miles an hour, Keith.
Moves in at 135, and we watched two of them go banging in at about that speed, and this time we watch Fred Alter to see if he can hang on that right sponson of the Madison, and he's hanging there very well. And now it'll be a sprint down the near straight.
Fred seems to at will be able to accelerate and move down the straightaway and move ahead of the Atlas in this or the Madison. He'll take a run at him just like he did before.
It's a 60-mile race, and you don't like to put this much pressure on your equipment in the first heat. But the points are so important. First place is worth 400. Second, 300. Third, 225. And here comes Fred Alter pulling up on the Madison again.
But just prior to, he's always able to do it at the end of the straightaway when he has to begin decelerating for the third. And there he dropped his right sponson. Dropped the right sponson and it's pulled into starboard.
He almost turned over.
He's way up on the right side.
But he still has the engine working, and knowing Fred Alter, and goodness knows we've seen him drive every kind of boat in every kind of condition. He's tough. Trailing the field, Miss Timex holding on to fourth place, which is going to be worth 169 points to it if it hangs in there.
See, that Fred's a tough guy. He's been in this sport for years and years, had great experience, and I hope he can keep that boat moving.
And here comes Atlas Van Lines 2 with young Terry Sterrett taking the checkered flag and winning Heat 1B worth 400 points. Miss Madison takes second place for 300 points, and Towne Club, the tail fin, wobbling and waving, and I would expect we'll see Fred running without that tail fin the rest of the day.
And a section just behind the seat is dislodged or torn away, too.
So it's 225 points for third, and Miss Timex will take fourth for 169 points. And remember, it is total points at the end of 60 miles of racing that determines the winner of the Gold Cup. Bill Muncie, you go ahead and get suited up for the next action in the Gold Cup race from Madison, Indiana, coming up on ABC's Wide World of Sports.